everyone. I'm hoping this is going live just now. Fantastic. Okay, hello everyone, it's Katie here and welcome to this webinar about the Abridge Academy curriculum. I'm so excited to share with you some really exciting updates today. But first of all, I know we've got people from all over joining us today. So do feel free to just introduce yourself in the comments below. Tell us a little bit about you, where you're from. Are you an existing Abridge Academy curriculum member? Have you never heard about Abridge Academy before and want to learn more? Just let us know in the comments. It'd be really great to hear. And while you do that, I'm just going to very briefly introduce myself. I know that we have some people tuning in who are totally unfamiliar with the Abridge Academy curriculum, as well as those who've been with us for over a year now. So please do bear with me for a few minutes while I do some quick introductions, just while you're introducing yourselves as well. So yeah, my name is Katie. I am the director of Abridge Academy, and I actually started teaching online first back in 2013 and then on and off since then. In 2017, I started working on what became the early stages of Abridge Academy. And in 2020, I then co-founded an online ESL tutoring program targeting particularly Chinese students. Then in 2021, we launched the Abridge Academy curriculum, which is of course the focus of today's webinar. So that's been going for about a year and a half now, which has been just fantastic. So there's a little bit of background information there for anyone who is new to Abridge Academy or just sort of unfamiliar with some of the background. So I'm just going to quickly check in the chat. How are we doing with the chat? Okay, it looks like the live streaming is working, which is always good to see. So if you're tuning in, do feel free to just introduce yourself in the comments. Please do let us know, like, what's your name, where you're from, and if you're already an Abridge Academy curriculum member or you're just tuning in to find out more. It's always great to hear. And also just a quick suggestion to anyone who's watching the replay, I'm going to put chapters for every section of this live stream in the video underneath, which means you can jump to the relevant sections for you. Because I know sometimes these live streams can get quite long, particularly when we're answering questions and things as we go through. So if you're watching the replay, just check out the chapters below to jump ahead to the relevant section. Okay, I've seen quite a few people joining us here on YouTube. I'm just going to double check it's all working fine on Facebook. I'm always a little bit wary of the technology sometimes. Yes, I can see it is live here on Facebook as well. Fantastic. Okay, so as I was just saying, I'm really excited today to show you some exciting updates to the Abridge Academy curriculum, which is a lovely little poster we've got here. So the Abridge Academy curriculum, I'm going to give a little bit more detail in a moment, but the Abridge Academy curriculum is a highly interactive online curriculum designed for online ESL teachers who are mostly teaching independently. And we also have a few small agencies who use the Abridge Academy curriculum as well. And it's designed to be really fun and engaging for your students. I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about some really exciting big updates that have come to the Abridge Academy curriculum dashboard and some other areas of the curriculum as well. Okay, so seeing some comments here from people joining us. So hi there, Julie, great to see you. Already a member, fantastic. Tuning in from Florida, awesome. Gosh, what time is it there? It must be early morning, I think, for you. I'm here in Japan. In Japan, it's just gone 9 p.m. Great to see you, thank you. And we've got mystery Facebook user whose name is Ala. By the way, if your name isn't showing up here on Wave Video, there's a link somewhere around the video that you can click on just to authorize Wave Video. I'm not using StreamYard anymore. You can authorize StreamYard to access your name. If you're using Facebook, you'll need to click on that link just so we can see who you are. But yep, thank you, Ala, for joining us from Moldova. Amazing. English teaching at Construction College, ready to absorb new knowledge about curriculum. Wow, well, I hope you find today's webinar helpful. I'm going to tell you all about the Abridge Academy curriculum, all the cool features, and maybe it's going to be something you want to check out for your classes as well. Fantastic. Okay, let's just jump into a plan for today's webinar then. So today there's several different things to go through. So it's probably going to get quite long. I apologize in advance. But as I said, if you're watching the replay, there'll be chapters linked underneath to jump through to the relevant sections. I'm going to start with a quick overview of the curriculum for anyone who's brand new to it. So Ala, I hope you find that one particularly helpful. And that's going to be maybe just 3 minutes or so, just a quick introduction. Then we're going to look at the new member dashboard area. So this has been completely redesigned. If you are an Abridge Academy curriculum member for a while, you know before maybe it's a bit cluttered and sometimes people find it difficult to find things. So a complete redesign of the new member dashboard, and I'll be showing you how to find what you're looking for on that. Then third point we're going to look at is the new lesson navigation system. This has completely changed, and this is something I'm so excited to share with you. It took a lot of work over the weekend rolling this out, but now it's live and already has some great feedback from people. So I hope you find it much easier now to actually navigate and find the lessons you're looking for. And finally, we're going to look at an example lesson, and I'm going to show you how the slide tools and interactive features work. That's going to be particularly useful if you're quite new to the Abridge Academy curriculum. I know I've always had a few messages from people saying, how do I use it on this teaching platform? How do I click or move these things? That kind of those kind of questions we'll be answering in that last section there when we look at an example lesson and how to use the lesson. Great. Just seeing another comment here. Thank you, Dave, for tuning in. Dave from Australia. Just starting my own online English school, interested in your Academy's curriculum. Great to see, Dave. Well, I hope you find this webinar helpful with lots of information about the curriculum and how you can use it. Great. Okay, let me just change the screen share. I just want to share with you, come on, technology, we can do this. I just want to share with you a little bit more information about the Abridge Academy curriculum in general. And this is particularly relevant for anyone who's quite new to the curriculum. On computer, let's find the right page. Here we go. Abridge Academy curriculum. I have about 1 million tabs open right now, so it's hard to find exactly the one we're looking for. Okay. Chrome tab, curriculum. Here we go. Let me just check that is working. Stop that share, start the new share. Here we go. And now we can see it a bit clearer. Right, so let me just close this as well. Now I'm tiny. Let's see if we can make me a little bit bigger. Maybe something like this. Well, there we go, that'll do. Okay, so this is a quick introduction to the Abridge Academy curriculum. I'm just going to tell you a bit of information that will help you get started, or if you're just checking this webinar out to see if the curriculum is for you. This, by the way, you can find by going to the website abridgeacademy.com/curriculum. So if you're brand new and you want to find out a bit more about this and sign up for our free tier to try it out, this is the webinar link. This is the website link. I'm going to leave that up on the screen there for you. Essentially, the Abridge Academy curriculum is a whole series of professional teaching resources specifically designed for online ESL teachers. So this is not like a textbook. It's specifically designed for people who are teaching online, or you can also use it in person. I know some teachers are using it in the classroom, but we're really taking advantage of the technology and the interactive tools you can have in the online learning environment. So yeah, we've got some wonderful reviews from people. If you're interested, you can check these out on the website. Really appreciate everyone who's a current curriculum member who's written some lovely feedback for us, and it's always really great to hear. Okay, so the curriculum is essentially split into 2 main parts. I'm just going to quickly summarize those now. The first part is the core curriculum. This essentially is a step-by-step beginner's ESL curriculum. There's over 200 lessons now available. It's including the step-by-step curriculum and also a specialist synthetic phonics curriculum, which is designed to help students learn how to read and sort of blend sounds together and things like that. All of the slides are very professional. I've talked already a bit about how interactive they are. So students can click, they can drag and drop, they can move things on the screen, they can play fun games like this one you can see here. There's also quizzes and things built in. It's designed to be really interactive and engaging. There are also other things that supplement the lessons, for example, homework worksheets and flashcards. These are gradually being rolled out to all of the lessons. They're available for just over half of the lessons in the core curriculum so far. Similarly, we also have lesson previews available. If you're teaching students independently online, quite often parents are asking for a lesson preview so the child can learn some of the key words and things before the class, and that's what we've got in our lesson previews. These also include British and American English audio, so they can hear the correct pronunciation of new words and dialogues. And it's following what's called the CEFR levels, this bit here, CEFR levels, the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. So this is a research-based framework for teaching languages, and we're focusing on A1 to A2 level students, which is beginner to pre-intermediate levels. And you can use these lessons on any teaching platform that has screen sharing or browsing facilities. So for example, Zoom, Koalago, and Classin are some of the most popular ones that people use. And there's guides to these, by the way, on your member dashboard if you're an Abridge Academy member and want to know how to use the lessons with your teaching platform. The other half of the curriculum is the niche courses, or sometimes called the expansion courses. And these add on to the core curriculum and provide sort of opportunity to explore wider interests or focus on specific language skills. There are over 100 lessons available, and they touch on topics like STEM, reading, debating, and things like that. And this is an opportunity for you as a teacher to offer sort of more specialist classes, which you might be able to charge higher prices for if you're tutoring online. And it's also something you can use to expand beyond your core lessons. So let's say, for example, you've got a student who's taking maybe 2 or 3 classes a week. If you're doing 2 or 3 core curriculum classes a week, they might get a bit bored of having the same format all the time. By adding in some of the niche courses, you can use those maybe one time a week to draw on one of their wider interests. Like for example, here we've got a fun space themed lesson on the screen here, and maybe you've got a child who loves space and science, and you could dip in and out of this alongside your core lessons. That's the idea of these niche courses. They also work really well if you're teaching on platforms like AllSchool or OutSchool, or if you just want to organize yourself a kind of short group course. Maybe I'm living here in Japan. In Japan, it's coming up to spring break, and during spring break, students might want to take an online group class for, say, a week. That's 5 sessions or something as an intensive course. This is something the niche courses are also quite well designed for. And they cover a whole range of levels, from complete beginner up to advanced levels, particularly the science theme courses and the English news courses, some of the most popular ones for those advanced students. Okay, that was a very quick summary. I hope I run through that relatively quickly, but I know that you can just check out the link below if you want a bit more detail on this. If you would like to sign up, there is a free tier available, and there's also some paid options to access all of the lessons. I would recommend starting off with the free tier. It's an opportunity for you to try out a selection of lessons for free. It's free forever. It's not a limited free trial or anything. And it gives you access to a selection of lessons across all of the different courses that we have available. There's no credit card required or anything. You just sign up here on the website. Then the other options, there's the basic membership, which gives you access just to those core lessons we talked about, the core curriculum and the phonics lessons. And then there's the ultimate subscription, which gives you access to those core lessons and also the niche expansion courses. If you're a current member, you'll notice that our pricing has changed a little bit on the screen here. We used to charge in UK pounds. We've recently switched to charging in US dollars because many of our customers were located overseas and they prefer to pay in dollars. So this is hopefully a bit more convenient for people. If you're a current member, please don't panic. Your current subscription will not change. So whatever you're currently paying will continue as it currently is in the currency it currently is in. So don't need to worry if you're a current member, but if you're someone who's new and interested in signing up, these are the new pricing system. It's the same price, depending slightly on exchange rate. It's basically the same price as previously. It's just in dollars rather than in pounds. Yeah, if you're a current member, don't panic. You're not going to be charged a different amount or in a different currency. Okay, does anyone have any questions about the curriculum? I don't want to spend too long just sort of running through this kind of promotional stuff because, to be honest, you can find it yourself on the website anyway. But yeah, do check out this link here, abridgeacademy.com/curriculum. Sign up for the free tier to check it out if you'd like to have a try. Okay, I'm seeing a few more people joining us. Hi there, Houda from Algeria. Great to see you. Qualified English teacher trying to explore more about online teaching. Fantastic. And we've got Jess from Canada joining us as well, but living in Italy. Wow. Planning to become a member in March. Just finished all the background work to go solo. Great to hear. You'll probably want to check out the free tier to start off with. In fact, you can sign up now because it's free forever. It's not like a limited time trial. So feel free to check out the free tier and have a play around before you launch properly in March. Great to see you here. Okay, let me stop this sharing and go back. Ooh, what have I done here? Hide from screen. Right. So that was a very quick introduction to the Abridge Academy curriculum. So I hope this was helpful for you. I would like to now move on to the next topic, which is to do with your member dashboard, because I know we've got a lot of people tuning in who are existing members, or if you're new and you want to find out like how to navigate and find things on your dashboard. Ooh, I'm just seeing a quick message pop up. Julie's asking, I'm already a member and would love to switch to paying in dollars. Can I switch over? So if you're a current member and you'd like to switch to paying in dollars, you can do that by basically wait till the end of this, whatever your payments month is due up, and just before cancel the subscription, and then you can sign up again. And when you sign up again, it goes through the payment processor, so it will then charge you in dollars in the future. However, if you do this, do be aware that if you're one of our early bird subscribers, so people who signed up way back when we first launched, you've got a slight discount on that price. You won't be able to keep that discount if you switch to paying in dollars by this method, because it's starting a new subscription essentially. So if you're one of the long-term members who joined us way back, basically before September 2022. So if you joined us before September 2022, so over 6 months ago, you're on a cheaper price. If you want to keep that cheaper price, don't do anything, just stay as you are. If you are signed up since then and you prefer to pay in dollars, you can, as I say, just cancel your current subscription, then re-sign up again, and it will charge you in dollars from then on. However, the pricing is actually the same. And at the moment, Abridge Academy is picking up the cost of that currency exchange fee anyway. If you're from the US and you normally have a US bank account, and it's charging you in pounds, you're not picking up any extra fees for that anyway. So there's not actually a benefit to switching over, is what I'm trying to say, unless you're worried about like the exchange rate varying a bit or something. But yeah, you can switch over if you'd want to. You're welcome to do that. Question here for Mystery Facebook user. If you'd like us to see your name, you need to authorize wave video somewhere, I think below the video or above the video. There's a link so we can see who you are. But Mystery Facebook user is asking, can you please give us some examples about the niche lessons? Yep, so actually we can check out those probably towards the end of the webinar when we look at the slide tools and stuff. Maybe you can pop up some of those niche lessons and show you those then. Or if you sign up for the free tier, you can access a selection of lessons across all of the niche courses for free, and you can just check them all out in your free time as well. Yeah. Oh, we've got Jessie saying, I've been using the free tier now, ready to sign up. Fantastic, really great to hear. Awesome. Okay, let me move swiftly on just because I'm aware of the time. So the next thing we'd like to have a quick look at is the new member dashboard. And again, I'm going to start a new screen share. Oops, what's happened here on the computer? We'll get there, we'll get there. Come on, computer. I have, I'd say, about 1 million tabs open, and our internet is a little bit slow here with so many things going on, particularly with the live streaming. Okay, let's share again. Hope this is the right one. Nope, that's not the right one. What have I done? New share. Share screen. Let's share your dashboard. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to go in this view so we can actually see it a bit more clearly. Show on screen. Right, okay. So when you signed up to Abridge Academy curriculum, when you first log in, you should be taken to your member dashboard. You can also access this member dashboard anytime by clicking on the Abridge Academy logo in the top left corner of the screen. So just click on that logo anytime and you'll be navigated back to the member dashboard. Now, if you've been with us for a while, you know that the member dashboard used to be a bit of a mess. There was a lot going on, way too much going on, and no one could find anything. So something we've recently done is completely redeveloped the dashboard to make it much easier to find the stuff you actually want, which is the lessons, right? Most people are going to the dashboard to find the lessons. That does mean we've removed some things from the dashboard though. So those are now in the header menu instead. I'll show you those in a moment. But essentially this is the new member dashboard. It should say welcome and then your name. If your name isn't here, you're either not logged in which case the menu at the top should have a login button somewhere, or you haven't set your name yet on your account. That's very easy to fix. Just go to the menu at the top, hover over my account and click on account details, and you can put your name in. It's just nice to be able to welcome you when you first log in. And it also means that when we email you, you'll get emails like to your name instead of to generic teacher. So feel free to update your name in the account details if you haven't already. So it should say, welcome Katie to your curriculum dashboard. Same as kind of previously. We've also got a link here to the Facebook group. This is a great place to ask questions. If there's anything you're not sure about, you don't know how to use things, or you've got some interesting feedback or suggestions to share, the Facebook group is a really great place to chat and to network with other Abridge Academy curriculum members. So you're welcome to join that. And there's also a few other things on the dashboard. The first part is the step-by-step curriculum. So this is the core curriculum lessons. This used to just have a link to the curriculum, and you'd have to click through to the curriculum, then click through to the level, then click through to it was a right pain, okay? I know it was a pain. Now we've put direct links from your member dashboard to each of the levels of the course. And I'm going to show you in a moment what those look like when we go to the part of today's webinar about the lesson navigation. But essentially now you can find the core course levels separated out on your dashboard here. And say you've got a student who's at level 3, you can just click here directly on level 3 to be taken to level 3 of the core course. If you scroll further down, you get to something similar. That's for the expansion courses. To access all of the expansion courses, you'll need to be an ultimate curriculum member. But if you're on the free tier or if you're on the core curriculum tier, you'll get a few of these available to free just to try them out. So you'll be able to find those here. The expansion courses are organized by level. So we've got A1 elementary, A2, B1, B2 and C1. These are according to the CEFR levels. If you're not familiar with the CEFR levels, I recommend having a look online. There's lots of information about the different levels you can find online. And you see as you click on each tab, the lessons underneath will update with the courses that are available for, in this case, A1 level students, which is complete beginners. These are the course pages. These are not individual lessons. These take you to the course page. I'll show you that in a moment. And if you scroll further down on your dashboard, you get a small section at the bottom, which is just some interesting extra things you might want to check out occasionally. First is the latest lessons feed. So if you haven't logged in a while, you want to check just what's been going on recently. So you can have a look here and just click through and have a look at some of the latest lessons. This only shows you lessons in your current membership tier. So if you're on the free tier, there won't be much going on here, unfortunately. But if you're on the ultimate tier, you'll see a lot more lessons showing up. It just shows the latest lessons that you actually personally have access to. Then on the right, you've got the latest blog posts. This is where some of the webinars, like today's webinar, will be posted. And there's also sort of video guides, blog posts, articles written by other teachers with top tips and suggestions, all kinds of useful things here. And you can have a browse and you've got some spare time just to upskill and learn some new things. So that's your current member dashboard. Any questions on the main parts of the dashboard so far? Essentially, it's designed just to give you the core curriculum and the expansion courses in a hopefully easy to navigate way. Okay, we've got a question here from a mystery Facebook user. Can you please tell me if these courses are suitable for primary and secondary school pupils in China? Really great question. Yes, so I would say that the core course is particularly suitable for the lower end of primary school. So it depends a bit on each student as to what level they're at, because depending on their school, depending on if they're having classes outside of school already, they'll be at very different English levels. But yes, I would say the core course is particularly, the step-by-step curriculum is particularly suitable for primary school age students. It's very interactive and it's designed to be, fun and engaging for them. And then if you've got older students like secondary school, they're probably beyond the level of the core course. I mean, it depends on their education background, but they're probably above this level. But you'll probably instead want to have a look at the expansion courses. So for example, maybe they're around lower intermediate level. And we've got a really great course on English news, which is great for developing reading skills. And the Space Explorers course is a lot of fun and it's sort of science themed. Kids learn how to talk about rockets and stuff like that. Or if they're a little bit more advanced in the upper intermediate lessons, there's a science course, there's a debating course, there's some specialist writing courses and so on. So yeah, depending on your students' age and level, there'll be different courses that are suitable. This actually links into something I want to quickly show you as well elsewhere on your member area, and that's the levels guide. So if you're not sure where to place one of your students, go to the very top of the screen, so the menu at the top of the screen, hover over curriculum, and you'll find a link that says levels guide. If you click on the levels guide, I'm going to open that in a new tab so you can see it. If we click on the levels guide, is that showing up? Oh, hang on, it's because I'm not showing that bit between. Try again. So hover over curriculum at the top, scroll down to levels guide, click on that. Wait a moment for it to load with my slow internet. Okay, and this level guide compares the Abridge Academy curriculum with various well-known ESL companies. For example, particularly if you're teaching Chinese students, these might be quite familiar, like if they've had classes with VIP Kid before, and it also compares them to well-known curriculum like the Cambridge curriculum and the CFR levels. So if you have a look at this levels guide, it will explain how the Abridge Academy core lesson levels match up with the CFR levels and these other companies. So you can place your students roughly according to this guide. There's also a really detailed spreadsheet. There's a preview available on this page, but it's a bit hard to read kind of on this screen because it's rather large. If you just click open here or open in a new tab, you can see all of the details. This explains not just the core course, but also the expansion courses, their CFR levels, how they match up with the other companies, and also more detail on the specific language skills that are covered at each level. So for example, in core level 1 and in the core phonics course, students develop skills like blending CVC words in phonics, reading simple decodable texts, speaking and listening simple words and phrases, things like that. And if you're teaching Chinese students, there's also a level descriptor in Chinese here that you can copy and paste and send to your parents to explain to them what they're covering at each level, and some example topics and things. And then at the very bottom of this page, there's a link to some level tests by Cambridge, which are free tests that you can send to your students to do either in their own time before your first class, or you can do it in the first class itself, which is a CFR level placement test, which will tell you their approximate CFR level, which will help you decide again which level to place them at in the curriculum. Okay, I'm rambling a bit, but you can find this section by going to the curriculum at the top in the member menu and then to the levels guide. Okay, now let's go back to your dashboard again. Any other questions? Okay, we got, thanks, you're welcome. I'm glad that helped. Okay, Julie's saying, love the new design and so much easier to use. That's really great to hear. Thank you, Julie. Yes, I'm hoping this is a lot more intuitive to follow. That's the plan for this new layout. Okay, just before we move on to how to actually navigate the lesson specifically, I'm going to go a quick overview of a few other things that used to be on the member dashboard but now been removed, because you might be wondering where is whatever. So the first thing that used to be on the dashboard that's now gone are the platform guides. So these used to be at the bottom of the dashboard, but it was just sort of clutter, and most people only had to look at them once when they're first getting started and then don't need to go back to them. So we've taken them out of the dashboard now so it doesn't clutter things up. You can find these by going to the header menu, hovering over curriculum and going to platform guides. And you can find guides for using the Abridge Academy curriculum on various different teaching platforms. For example, if you're using Koala Go, you click on the Koala Go guide and it's got step-by-step like how to use the curriculum. There are videos, there are screenshots, there's all the details you need to use the lessons on these different platforms. I would particularly recommend, if you're just starting out and you haven't decided on a teaching platform yet, I would particularly recommend using a co-browsing platform such as Koala Go or SuperKid. These allow your students to directly click and interact and engage with the slides in a much more interactive way. They're much more kid-friendly than some of the others. But you can still use the lessons on platforms like Zoom or ClassIn. I know they're also very popular. So yeah, check out those guides at the top. Another thing that's been removed from the dashboard are the courses. Again, these used to be somewhere buried at the bottom of the dashboard as a sort of scrollable thing that was going on, and most people weren't taking the courses. They were just there as sort of extras they might want. So we've removed those off the dashboard. You can find them now in the header menu. There's also a specialist courses page. If you click on the word courses, it takes you to a summary of all of the courses. And there's a free course on teaching on Zoom, and there's also some very affordable courses about marketing, particularly aimed at those who are teaching Chinese students. So you can check those out there in the header menu. We've also got links. This is relatively new to the webinars. So webinars like this, upcoming webinars and replays of previous webinars can all be found on the webinars page. There's a blog page where you can find blog articles. Okay, refer a friend. This also used to be on the dashboard. It's got removed. It used to be right at the bottom and no one was using it because it was way down on the dashboard. So now if you'd like to recommend the Abridge Academy curriculum to your friends, please do feel free. I really appreciate it. You can click on the refer a friend. It will take you to your affiliate dashboard and just show you where that is. And on this dashboard, you'll be able to find your affiliate URL that you can easily send to friends by direct message, by email, or share it on Facebook, whatever you want to do. You just copy paste the referral URL and share with them. So that's something else you want to check out. Next thing in the menu is the My Account section. This hasn't really changed, but it's where you can update your account details. There's also a finances section here. So if you would like to update your card details, or if you'd like to cancel your membership, or maybe you want to upgrade your membership to a different level, that can all be done in the finances section. And there's also a log out button if you'd like to log out. And final thing here is a contact us button. We used to have a Facebook messaging tool on the member homepage. However, it was causing some issues with the page loading properly. And also it was sort of covering up some of the content. People didn't really like it that much. So now we've got rid of the Facebook chat plugin because it was causing these issues. Instead, what you can do is you click on Contact Us. Here, there's either an email contact form, or you can just click through to the Facebook page and you can message directly on Facebook if you prefer Facebook. So those are the options at the top. Okay, that was me rambling a lot. That's a quick overview of some of the things that have changed that used to be on the member dashboard and now aren't. So those have gone. They're all in the menu, basically. If you can't find something, it's probably in the header menu. Okay, any questions on this? I know I've been talking a lot already, so thank you everyone for sticking around. I think we've covered everything, which is great. Okay, let me just have a quick look. Any other questions? I think we're good. Okay, in which case, let's move on to the next part of today's webinar. I want to show you how to navigate between the lessons themselves. Like, how do you actually get to the lesson pages? So let's go back to this view. So we're back on our dashboard. Again, if you want to get to the dashboard at any time, simply click on the Abridge Academy logo in the top left corner of the screen. It will take you to this page. And let's say we want to find a step-by-step curriculum lesson in level 3. Now, rather than having to click through to things, now you can just click directly on level 3 of the core course. And this is what I'm so excited to share with you today, because this has completely changed and hopefully is now a lot easier to navigate. I hope. I like to think. Okay, so now when you go to the level page, there's like an overview page of the whole level. I'm just going to make this a bit wider so we can see a bit more clearly. So we've got level 3, and it says here what CFR level it is. It's sort of upper level of A1. There's a nice picture. And there's a quick introduction to level 3 and who it's aimed at, and a quick summary of some of the key things that are covered. In particular, level 3 focus is primarily on the present continuous tense. There's a lot for the kids to learn about for this. There's lots of lessons on the present continuous tense. Tells you the lessons are for 15 to 30, that should be 25, I'll update that, 25 to 30-minute classes, and they have lesson previews, workbooks, and flashcards. So it tells you a little bit about what's available in this level. And now this is one of the exciting bits. When you scroll down further, each of the units that make up that level are now listed in a little box with all the lessons that make it up listed very clearly with direct links. So for example, maybe you've got a student who's in Unit 4, lesson number 2. You can click directly here to go to lesson number 2 in Unit 4 of this level. So you can click directly through from your level page here. This, I think, makes it a lot easier, hopefully, to find things. It also means that when you're first sort of planning your lessons, you've got a new student, you can easily flick through between the different levels and figure out what's the best place to start them at. And also, if you want to send some information to the parents as to what the plan is, you can say, okay, this month we're going to be looking at Unit 1. You can just take a screenshot of this bit, Unit 1, and send it to them. And you've got that overview done. Or you can copy paste stuff, of course, as well. So it just makes it a little bit easier, I think, to see an overview of each level and how to find each lesson within each level. If you want to switch to a different level, so maybe you were looking at level 3 and now you want to prep for another student you've got who's at level 5, the menu along the top when you're on the core curriculum lessons pages updates to show you the different levels. So you can easily jump here to level 5 or to level 1 or to the phonics course. So the core levels are all listed along the top in the header menu. Or of course you can go back to the dashboard at any time by clicking on the Abridge Academy logo if you want to go back and navigate to a different lesson that way. Okay, so that's the intro page. So you've got direct links here on the page. You can also find direct links to lessons in the sidebar menu, and this is something that's brand new, and I'm really excited to lot of work to put together, but hopefully makes it so much easier to find the lessons. So we had that example of someone who was in level 3, maybe they're on Unit 4, and they want to do lesson number 2. And you can just click through on the left side in the sidebar menu to easily navigate to that particular lesson, and you click on it here. So you either click on it from the lesson overview page in these square boxes, or you can find it in this left sidebar menu. And this left sidebar menu stays with you when you go to the next lesson in the course. So once you've had a look at this lesson, if you want to switch to a different one, you can easily do that in the left sidebar menu, which hopefully makes it a lot easier to navigate, I hope. So on each lesson page, you've then got a bit of information about the lesson. There's the slides themselves. If you're using a screen sharing platform like Zoom, you can just screen share this portion of the screen, or you can open them in full screen mode and then screen share from this section. Underneath, you also find a lesson link. This is useful if you're using co-browsing platforms like Koala Go or SuperKid. You can paste this direct link and use the password to open it in your teaching platform, as if you're using a co-browsing platform. Screen sharing ones, you can just use full screen mode from the slides above. Then if you scroll further down, you can see the learning objectives. Again, this is helpful if you want to just quickly check before class what the main things are that the kids should be focusing on, or if you want to send to parents a quick bit in some way, you can just literally copy paste the learning objectives and send it to them as the plan for this lesson. And then at the bottom, you'll find the downloads and links section. So there's a lesson preview you can send to students before the class, or they can use it after class to review the core information they need. This lesson preview includes things like the audio recordings of each of the new words, the example dialogue, the key grammar points, that kind of thing are all in the lesson previews. There's also workbooks available. These are available there are also previews in British and American English and workbooks in British and American English. And if you want an editable version, you can get the Canva link here. And there are also flashcards. Flashcards are really helpful. You can also send these to students before the lesson if they want to print them off. I've had students turn up to class before with the flashcards printed and they use them themselves in the lessons, they're kind of prop. Or you can just use them yourself, print them out so you've got something to show up on the screen when you're testing them on different words. So that's there. And just go right on the very bottom of the page. There's a section to leave a comment. So for example, maybe you spotted a small typo in the slides, or if you want to give some extra feedback, or you found a useful extra resource, that you found a great YouTube video that would accompany this lesson, you can pop that in the comments here. And it means that anything you share here can be linked directly to that specific lesson, it just appears in the comments underneath. So that's the lesson pages, and you can easily jump between different lessons in this level by using the menu on the left here. So you can just jump between them in the left menu. Hopefully, this is a bit easier to navigate than what we had previously, which was a kind of mess of header menus going on with too many nested levels that were confusing people. So yeah, any questions or anyone got any feedback or insights into how they find this new structure? Anything they don't understand or not too sure about? Okay, got mystery Facebook user, thank you. A well-organized site, really appreciate your feedback. I like the refer a friend section. Yes, I'm glad you found that helpful. If you'd like to recommend a friend, always really appreciate it because it really helps Abridge Academy as a company grow, and you get a small referral bonus as a thank you as well. Great. Great, another mystery Facebook user. By the way, if you're on Facebook, I think it's above the video on Facebook, there is a link to Wave Video where you can authorize Wave Video to access your name so we can see who you are. But otherwise, I'll have to check back on Facebook to see who everyone is afterwards. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad you find this helpful. Brenda commenting, great to see you, Brenda. Brenda is another fantastic curriculum developer and online teacher. Really great to see you here. Brenda saying you've really done a fantastic job and can see everything very quickly. That's great to hear. Thank you so much for that feedback. Fantastic. Okay, well, I'm glad this seems logical, which is always good to see. So I'm glad you found this a little bit more sensible way for navigating between the lessons. Always, if you're stuck, the main thing I would recommend doing, go back to your member dashboard by just going to the Abridge Academy logo on the top left and then working through that process we just did. Click on the level you're looking for, and then in the left menu, you'll be able to find each of the lessons that make up that level. And also on the level overview slide, you'll see an overview of all of the lessons that make up that level, divided into the different units, little overviews and links and things. Okay. Oh, mystery Facebook user saying thank you. You're welcome. I'm glad you found that helpful. Excellent. Okay, let's have a look then at the actual lessons themselves. So, this bigger. No, I can't make this bigger. Ooh, what have I done? I'll just tell you, I make the slides a little bit easier for you guys to see because it's kind of a bit narrow and thin. Or I can probably just resize my screen, right? Let's make these a little bit more of a sensible width. Is that easier to see here on the live stream? Maybe a little bit. Okay. So let's have a look now at the actual slides themselves and some of the slide tools that are available. So if you're brand new to the Abridge Academy curriculum and you're not familiar with the Genially tools, this will be really helpful for you. And even if you're not brand new, but you just want to check out how to use things and some top tips and insights into one of the latest lessons that have been produced, feel free to keep watching. I hope you find this helpful. So these slides are built using a really interactive slides tool called Genially, which has all these great features that allow you to make lessons so much more interactive and engaging. And I just want to work you through some of the tools we have available to help make your classes more fun. You know, as I was saying earlier, we're online teachers, and the great thing about teaching online is the amazing technology we have access to, and that's something these slides really do take advantage of. So let's have a look at this one. This is a slightly random lesson we picked out. We'll see how it goes. So this is level 3, unit 4, lesson number 2. You'll see this code, by the way, used a lot around the site, like in the header here. It says 342. That means it's level 3, unit 4, lesson 2. So that's just a code to easily pick out the lessons and organize them. Okay, so this one is about classroom activities. I was mentioning earlier that level 3 particularly focuses on the present continuous tense. And that again is a really big focus of this lesson, present continuous tense. And they're going to be learning new vocabulary, or these are kind of short phrases really about classroom activities. Now you can open these in full screen mode. Just because I've got a Wave Video and everything open, I'm not going to put it in full screen mode because otherwise I can't actually see you guys, which is difficult. So I'm going to keep them here kind of minimized. But yeah, you can open it in full screen mode if you wish, and it makes it a little bit easier to see. Okay. So we start off with just a few sort of intro slides. This is some simple questions to get the discussion started, sort of warm-up activities, nothing too complicated. Then every lesson has a review of the previous lesson. I was saying earlier about how these are step-by-step curriculum lessons that build on from the previous ones. So it's always good to review what they learned previously in order to continue with the next lesson. And this is a kind of drag and drop activity, something that's really fun for kids to do in an online environment. So you can look at the different pictures here and they have to match up the words with the pictures, quite a straightforward thing. So firstly, she's turning on the monitor. What's student here who is running? And they can just drag and drop these here. Now, the way that the present continuous tense is taught in the Abridge Academy curriculum, we teach the verbs themselves as the infinitive, like to run, to walk, to sit, to turn on. You'll see these words on the screen here. And then in the lesson itself, they taught how to turn these into the present participle, so ing form, running, sitting, playing, and how to then form the present continuous tense in that way. So you'll see that all of these are using the infinitive of the verb, and that's often a good way for students to get more familiar with the actual grammar behind this. That's particularly important if you're teaching students whose native language is very different to English. For example, I think someone earlier mentioned they were teaching Chinese students. Chinese doesn't conjugate verbs, so Chinese students often struggle a lot with these concepts. So this is something that's worth practicing with them. When you're doing these kind of review activities, I would recommend asking the student to make sentences with each of these keywords. Given that we've been focusing on present continuous tense, you can get them to make a sentence in the present continuous tense using each of these words as you go. And so describing what they can see, things like that. I'm just going to very quickly match these up and you'll see what happens once we get all of the answers correct. So move all the words on the screen. And it pops up a little trophy. And this is something that's quite fun that's built into the Abridge Academy lessons. Whenever you get the answer correct, it pops up with a little trophy or a well done thing, which just makes it a little bit more fun. If you're using a teaching platform that's got a built-in reward system, for example, ClassIn, KoalaGo, SuperKid, a lot of these have built-in rewards. This can be your own little personal prompt to then click on the reward button on your teaching platform, so your students can gain trophies or stars or confetti things or whatever it is that your teaching platform has. Okay, I'm just going to double check. Are there any questions here? Oh, Alice saying, I just want to check if I switch the can to be visible. Yes, we can see you. Great, thank you so much for doing that. Fantastic. Okay, so that was just the kind of warm-up slides. There's always a bit of intro. Then we move on to the new words. And these, as I was saying earlier, have got audio in both British and American English. You won't be able to hear these because I'm not sharing sound with Wave Video. But if you look at the free tier lessons, you can hear how the audio sounds. But yeah, we've got British and American English for each of these words. You'll notice that the words are color-coded. They're color-coded according to different parts of speech. So verbs are coded in blue, and nouns are in this kind of pink color. We've included the article along with the noun because it's often helpful for students to learn a book, a computer, rather than just book and computer on its own. Because particularly if their native language doesn't use articles in the same way, again, Chinese is a great example of this. It's helpful for them to learn the phrase a book rather than just the word book on its own. Excuse me. That's something that's covered in some of the other lessons. They talk more about articles elsewhere in the curriculum. But yeah, that's just a quick intro to the color coding system. With these, I'd recommend you get your flashcards out, quiz the students as you go along, get them to say sentences with the different words, things like that to make it more interactive. If you're not sure how to use a slide, by the way, in the top left corner, there's a little sort of question button thing. If you click on that, it pops up with some teacher tips. In this case, it's saying you get the student to repeat the new words, use flashcards, make a sentence with each new word, just like I was suggesting. So those teacher tips are in the top left corner if you ever need any help as to how to use the slides. I'm going to flick through these kind of quickly because we're not actually wanting an English lesson here. We just want to see how to use some of the interactive features. This is another drag and drop one, very similar to what we looked at earlier. I'm trying to remember what the lesson was about. There we go, to ask a question. That'll be to answer a question. In fact, the next one is to answer a question. I know English, honest. Okay, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but it works the same as the previous one. You can drag and drop them on the screen. It pops up a little trophy reward when you get it correct. Now, on teaching platforms like KoalaGo, SuperKid, Remote HQ, Surfly, any kind of co-browsing platform, and also with some other platforms like Zoom has a remote control tool, these allow your students to be the ones to click and drag and drop and move things. I particularly recommend those co-browsing platforms for that, because then you can get the student to be the one moving things on the screen, which makes it so much more fun for them. If you're using a platform that doesn't have that interactivity, no worries. What I would do, I used to teach on Zoom like way back before switching to KoalaGo. But when I was teaching on Zoom, I would just circle something on the screen and say, what's he doing? The student would say, he's asking a question. Then I'd drag the correct bit to the box for them. So you just rephrase your instructions differently if you're using a screen sharing platform rather than a co-browsing platform. I'm also going to point out a few of the other tools you've got on the screen here. In the top right corner, there's a little writing tool that's useful for circling things. You can just doodle it on the screen. You can change the size of it. So if you want to make it a thicker writing tool, maybe you're doing some colouring in or something on some of the beginners level lessons, different colours, that kind of thing. So that's quite useful. And this writing, by the way, it stays if you switch slides and then switch back again. It will keep, it remembers what you wrote previously within the same session. Also, if you don't know what's interactive, if you click here on show draggable elements, it will pop up and just tell you which bits can be moved. That can be helpful if you're looking at a slide and you're not quite sure what you're meant to click on. You can click there and it'll just prompt you. And then this last one shows you all interactive elements, including things you drag and also anything you click on. In the bottom right corner, there's this options menu, and this gives you the option to flick between different slides or to open in full screen mode. So if you want to jump to a specific slide, you can put the number in here. This goes to full screen. I'm not going to do that now because I'm screen sharing it. It goes a bit weird when I'm doing it from Wave Video. And then show pages gives you an overview of all of the slides. Oh, it's opening a bit weird because I've got it in a very small size at the moment. It's a bit wider. Gives you an overview of all of the slides that make up that lesson. So maybe you want to jump ahead a bit. You can just flick through and jump ahead to a different lesson. A different slide in the lesson using this. Okay, any questions on this so far? I think we're good. Excellent. Okay, another example of things you can do with the lessons are click on stuff. There's also clickable elements built into the lessons. This one here is a quiz. So you can ask your student, what's he doing? Oh, he's writing a story. That was a phrase they just learned earlier. And then to check they got it correct, just click on it, it fades out, and it gives you to write a story as the phrase they just learned. Again, if you're not sure what to do on a slide, there's a few useful prompts. Like in the bottom right corner here, you see a little clicky finger icon that's telling you it's something you should click. Or in the top left corner, if you click on that help button, it will pop up and give you some teacher tips as to what to do with this activity if you're not sure. But yeah, you can just click on each of these images and it reveals the new word or phrase behind. So we're still in the kind of introducing new vocabulary section of the lesson here, right? It's just checking they can recall the new words. Then we start to move on to slightly more complicated stuff within the lesson. So here we're reviewing the present continuous tense, and we're going to write the ing form, so the present participle. We call it just the ing form because often if you're teaching younger kids, they find out a little bit easier to remember. But if you prefer to use present participle, you can just say that. And this has got a writing box exercise. You can actually type directly in the boxes. So for example, play is playing, so ask is asking, answer answering, and you can just type it in the box. You see it pops up with a little check mark if they get it correct. Just adds that little bit more fun to the lessons because it's directly responding to their responses. And then we've got writing. You'll notice the E is in red. That's just because when you write the ing form, the present participle, we remove the E. So that's just a reminder for them on this slide because it's something we learned in one of the previous lessons. And it pops up with a nice little trophy reward when they get it correct. Now this, if you're using a co-browsing platform, we mentioned Koalago, SuperKid, Remote HQ, Surfly, we mentioned those co-browsing platforms before. You can give your student permission to directly engage with the slides at this point and they can type it in the boxes themselves. If you're using a platform like Zoom, like a screen sharing platform, Zoom, Voov, also on Classin, because Classin doesn't have student interactivity with the browser, on these platforms, I would recommend using the Zoom annotation tools, and they can annotate on the box and they can type on the screen instead. It won't pop up with the automated rewards if you're doing that because it's just on the annotation layer on your teaching platform, but it allows them to have a similar kind of class experience. Because the purpose of this slide is kind of checking their sort of spelling and their ability to write these present participles. Okay, just going to jump in and see the comments. Anything popping up? Oh, got a comment here from another mystery Facebook user. Great to see you. How I wish I could quit my school full-time job or somehow start my own business. Well, that's what we're all about here at Abridge Academy. We've got loads of resources to help you setting up your own online teaching business. That's including the curriculum that we've got on the screen and we're working through today. And we also have lots of training courses and advice for teachers who are sort of starting up, going independent, want to know how to market and advertise their classes, that kind of thing. So do feel free to check out all of the resources on the Abridge Academy site because I'm sure you find that helpful. Similar with our Facebook group, loads of free support in our Facebook group. Great. I was also, I used to be a classroom teacher back in the UK before switching to online teaching. So yeah, there's plenty of people who did exactly what you're looking to do, switch from classroom teaching to teaching online and setting up your own business. Okay, let's jump back to some of these slides then. Another type of activity we have on many of the slides are these quizzes. It's like a drop-down quiz. Again, we're reviewing the present continuous tense here. It's something they learned in a previous lesson, but we're just reviewing it, making sure they fully understand that before jumping into anything new. So here's something using the computer. So it's going to be he is using the computer, and you can find that in the drop-down menu. These pop up really big because I've got it in, like I've got the slides open very small at the moment on my screen. When you've got the slides in full screen mode, they open up a little bit nicer, but it's designed to make it easier to read. Yeah, he is using the computer. Simply, they are doing their homework. I am writing a story. and so on. So they click on the correct answers and you click check and it just checks the answer, gives the score, out of in this case 5, and the trophy pops up if they've got all of them correct. So again, little quizzes that are built in to check their understanding throughout the lessons. You notice there's not very many like boring presentation type slides. All of the slides are designed to be interactive and fun and engaging, give them stuff to actually do, because students learn through doing rather than just through reading or listening. So we've got another activity here. This is an acting slide, so you can act out the different verbs, act out the different words that we learned today. For example, you can mime reading a book, and the student has to say, you are reading a book, or teacher Katie is reading a book, and try and get them to say different sentences using the grammar and stuff that we've learned so far. Let's click through these relatively quickly. Okay, another type of activity you'll find on many of the lessons are these drag and drop ones. This is just looking particularly at sentence order, like the order of words in a sentence. This is very important for students whose native language uses a different sentence order to English. So I'm currently living in Japan, and in Japanese, the sentence order is very different. So rather than saying she is asking a question, they're saying she a question is asking. They put the verb at the end of a sentence. This is quite common in many languages as well. They don't all have the same word order as English. So these slides where they're practicing putting the words in the correct order is really helpful for that. You'll notice that the boxes are color coded here because it's kind of it's a instruction slide. It's teaching them something new, a presentation slide. So we've color coded the boxes to sort of prompt them as to where to drag and move the words. So they're sort of learning as they're doing it rather than being a quiz slide. Okay, and then it pops up with a trophy saying, well done, you got it right. And there's a few more like this. I think we would click through. It gives them a few more practice ones along the same lines. Then we have more discussion points. It's really important when you're having like online classes to get the kids to talk as much as you can, particularly if it's like a one-on-one environment. It's a really good opportunity for them to be speaking as much as possible. So here we've got the opportunity for you to ask them, what are you doing? They might want to act out or something. And you can drag and move these into the box for them to make a sentence. So again, practicing actually speaking in full sentences and using the new vocab and grammar. I'm going to flick through relatively quickly because I feel like most of this is more fun for you to have a play around yourself. Sign up for the free tier. As I said, the link is in the description of the video. Sign up for the free tier and you actually play around yourself directly with these slides. It's always a better way of doing it. Okay, here's another example. It's just an image slide and just ask them to talk a little bit more independently about what they can see. So what are they doing? If you hover over different bits of the screen, it sort of highlights different sections. So she is reading a book. The girl is doing her homework. And you can use the new words and phrases they learnt in the lesson. She is raising her hand, maybe, or asking a question, I think was the word they taught in this lesson. So yeah, different activities here. Okay, more review ones, and you see here now we've switched away from having so much structure on the screen. There's no longer that structure provided to them. It's just the image, and they have to themselves try and use that image to make their own sentence completely independently. These ones, quite often when you've got image slides, you can normally click on the image to make them bigger if you need to see more detail on the images. Okay, we're coming towards the end of today's lesson. I know there's a lot of content here, so thank you everyone who stuck through with this. I hope you find this helpful with some tips and suggestions to how to use each of the slides and some insights into the different interactivity that's available. So yeah, this is one of the dialogues. This is a great one for you and your student to act out together. If you're teaching a small group class, you can get different students to take on the different roles. And you'll see here there's a little play button. Again, the audio is not going to play properly through Wave Video, so sorry you can't hear this, but it is actually playing. And on most teaching platforms, they do actually share the audio. So you can listen to the actual recording of it. There's also including the preview slides if they want to preview the dialogue before the class. So you can act out sort of this dialogue. You can then ask them comprehension checking questions, like what is Tom doing? Is Tom playing games? What's Tom's homework? And they're having to rephrase Tom's answers in the third person in this case. So Tom is using the computer rather than I'm using the computer. That kind of thing. It's just a little bit more language practice of the key grammar point of the present continuous tense. And you can also mix things up and try and change it a bit themselves. Like maybe Tom's not using a computer anymore. Maybe he's playing a game. You can change the dialogues up as well. Then there's a kind of practice quiz thing just to check they've kind of understood everything in the dialogue. So what are you something? Well, we learned about asking questions in the present continuous tense. Again, that's another section of the curriculum. You'll learn that they need to say doing, the ing form. Simply, I'm something the computer. I'm using the computer. Not use or uses, I'm using ing. something you play in games. What can we put here? If the student doesn't know, click on it to see the drop-down options. Are you playing games? As I was saying earlier, these pop up rather large just because I'm sharing a very small bit of my screen at the moment because I've got Wave video and everything open. If you've got the slides in full screen mode, they open properly as drop-downs at the correct size. No, I'm doing my homework. What's your homework? I'm writing a story in English. And then check. It pops up with their score in the bottom right corner here and a little trophy pops up. So these kind of drop-down quizzes can be a lot of fun. And we always end the lesson with a fun game. This is a tic-tac-toe game, which is great for reviewing new vocabulary. I would tend to have these on some of the vocab focus lessons. So here, the student has to, if you're familiar with tic-tac-toes, also known as noughts and crosses in the UK, so they want to get 3 in a row, basically. So the student will start maybe, and they're going to put their counter over here, and they'd have to say a sentence using the new grammar and the vocabulary from today's lesson. He is answering a question. And then it's maybe another student's turn or the teacher's turn. You're going to go here. The boy is reading a book, and so on. And you just take turns. And the idea is you want to try and get 3 in a row. That's how these tend to work. Yay, green has 1. Awesome. So it's an opportunity just to practice and consolidate the new vocab and grammar from this lesson. If you don't want to use the draggable counters, you can also just use the pen tool in the top right corner. And you can be different colors, or you can do cross versus circle. You can also do it that way as well. That also works if you've got more than 2 students and you want to play a different variation of the game with more, like multiple students. You can just use the pen tool instead. And then we end with a summary, and the summary reviews some of the key learning points. Again, a quick drag and drop activity to check they can remember the new words, and the key grammar point as well. So a quick summary to consolidate that understanding. And that's it. That's the end of this lesson. Yay. Thank you for sticking around. That was a very thorough work through. So I hope you found that helpful to see how the slides work and the kind of interactivity and things that are built into them. And hopefully they'll give you a few ideas as well. Even if you're familiar with the Abridge Academy curriculum and how these kind of interactive slides work, hopefully it's giving you a few ideas you can use in your classes. Okay, just having a quick look in the comments here. Lots of questions. Okay, who got Debbie saying, I wish I could go on my own. I have no clue at this stage. I need to start all over again. I'm a former ESL teacher, but stopped 6 months ago. It's going to help me to start from scratch. I would be so grateful. Excellent job. Okay, well, thank you so much for the comment. I'm definitely more than happy to help out teachers who are just getting started with teaching independently, or if you've taken a break and you're coming back to it. One of the biggest challenges is things like finding new students and trying to find new students and get them started and sort of start building momentum with your independent teaching business. I know it can be really tough. We actually have a lot of support in the Facebook group. So what I'd recommend doing, if you go to the Abridge Academy website, on your member dashboard, there's a link to the Facebook group. And we also have our Xiaoshu and WeChat marketing Facebook group. That's ideal if you are looking to target Chinese students in particular. We've actually got a free bootcamp starting in about 8 hours. It's going to be Monday evening American time. Here in Asia, I'm in Japan, it's like 6:30 in the morning for me. But there's a marketing bootcamp that's starting literally in 8 hours time on WeChat marketing, which you might want to come and join in on that if you want. The link to that is on the Abridge Academy website under the webinars page. So if you go to abridgeacademy.com/webinars, you'll find a link to the free bootcamps, loads of other webinars we've done previously, lots of recordings on things like how to get started teaching independently or how to design your marketing strategy. So I hope you find this helpful, Debbie, in terms of getting started. You can also feel free to reach out to me personally. If you see you on Facebook, yeah, you're on Facebook. You can drop me a message on Facebook and I'm more than happy to point in the direction of useful resources and add you to the Facebook group and all of that. Okay, great. Next up, we've got Julie. Julie saying, you've done a wonderful job putting together a step-by-step curriculum. Thank you for that feedback. I hope you find it helpful for your students. I feel like having that step-by-step support is really important when kids are learning English, particularly at the beginner's level. I know sometimes it's tempting to sort of grab resources randomly online and dipping in and out of things. But I think that step-by-step approach hopefully is valuable for students. Okay, Julie's saying, my students always enjoy the lessons. Thanks for the feedback. Do you have a step-by-step writing curriculum or something you would recommend? We don't actually have a step-by-step writing curriculum at the moment. That is a really great idea, so thank you so much for the suggestion. I'm not familiar with any other companies that also have step-by-step writing curricula either, although there are a few organizations like Twinkle which have free, somewhat random writing resources that follow. Twinkle follows the UK primary school curriculum, so you can check out. Aside from flashcards, there's a PDF document available for each of the lessons. Yes, so if you use the PDF per lesson, they're like excuse me, hiccups, they're worksheets with lots of activities. You can use these particularly for homework. So I'd recommend sending your students the homework. You can actually use them in class itself, like open it up in your teaching platform, the PDF. And yeah, we've got the flashcards too. So there's the workbook in particular, the flashcards, and the lesson previews. You'll find some that are more suitable for teenagers and adults that aren't sort of child themed, if that makes sense. So we do have things available that would be suitable. Not so much for complete beginners, though, I'll be honest. If we look at the stuff that's more aimed at teenagers and adults, it tends to be more at the higher levels. What do we have that could be suitable for adult beginners? You could adapt some of the core lessons, as I say. You can jump in and out of them, maybe skip the unit about school activities, and use other resources you might have on work activities, that kind of thing. But yeah, this is more designed for children, I'm going to be honest. I don't want to kind of lie to anyone and say it's suitable for everyone. It's more aimed at kids. But thank you for the question. Great question. Okay, I'm going to come back to what Julie was saying about the expansion classes, the niche classes, because I think that might be helpful to have a quick look at. We are over time already, but I'm going to quickly have a look at those because it might be helpful. And as I say, if you sign up for the free tier, you can try out a selection of lessons across all of the expansion courses for free. It's normally 1 or 2 lessons per course, so you can check this out for free if you want to check out any of the courses before signing up. So if we go back to your dashboard, as I was saying earlier, just click on the Abridge Academy logo anytime to go back to your dashboard. Here's our lovely new beautiful member dashboard. So exciting to see this, so much cleaner and easier to navigate, hopefully. We're going to scroll past the core curriculum, the step-by-step curriculum, and we're going to go to the expansion courses section. And as I was saying before, these are organised according to different CEFR levels. So elementary, we've got A2, B1, B2, and C1. And you just click on these different tabs here to jump between the different levels. And then there are courses by level organised underneath. So I don't know if any particular courses jump out to you, Julie, or anyone else in the chat. Does anyone have any particular courses they'd like to check out? If I pick out a few of my favourites, I think the active grammar course is really great for adding on, if you've got students who are struggling with a particular grammar point. It's still in development at the moment, the active grammar, so there's not huge numbers available yet. But as it's expanding, it's becoming a great resource to dip in and out of if you need extra help on particular topics. So we just looked at an example of a lesson on the present continuous tense, and maybe even after loads of lessons in the core course on the present continuous tense, your student's still struggling with it, or they want to sort of learn about it in a different context. You might want to look into some of the active grammar lessons on the present continuous tense in that case to add in on top of what they'll be doing. The seasonal celebrations course is also really popular. This has got lessons that are themed around various different festivals that are organised throughout the year, such as Christmas, Chinese New Year. We had Valentine's Day just a couple of weeks ago. Easter's coming up. There's going to be some Easter lessons coming up soon. So in the seasonal celebration section. We've got some beginner courses. This is a new one, Travel Agent. There's only a few lessons in it so far, but there's more being added as sort of travel-related English. This is aimed at sort of still quite beginners level. Someone mentioned they had a beginners level adult student. The Travel Agent course, this one could be used for teenagers, I would say, and also adults, not just young kids. It's very diverse, like very flexible, sorry, in the way that it's designed. You can teach it to quite a diverse range of kids or adults. I also really love the Space Explorers course. This one it took a lot of work. That's why I love this one so much, but it's really fun. And if you've got kids who like science, even if they've got quite a low English level, they can do well with the Space Explorers lessons. So it's a lot of fun. They go explore different planets and they design their own space rocket and stuff like that. It's quite project-based as well. They can do little projects at each class. If we look at lower intermediate, probably my favourite one here is the English News course. This is great for kids or actually teenagers or adults. This one's very flexible, particularly good actually for teenagers and adults who would like to develop their English reading, comprehension, analysis, and discussion skills. So they read like a short news article, they analyse the text, they pick out different words, they learn new vocabulary from the text, and they also have a bit of a mini debate or discussion around some topic that's come up related to that news article. So that's a really fun course to look at. And you'll notice this news course also appears in different levels as well, because the news lessons are available in a range of different levels. Look at UPS Intermediate. Debating is, again, a new course, still very much in development, but that one is very exciting and great if you've got more advanced students. Again, it works for both teenagers and adults, I would say. And then the Science Boost course is also really popular. This is based on sort of a middle school science curriculum. And it's great if you've got students who are moving to an international school or an English medium school, or maybe they're preparing to study abroad and they want to develop their scientific English. So it's teaching science topics in English with more of a focus on learning new words and sentence structures and so grammar points that are useful in actual academic English context. So that's quite a good one if you've got more advanced students. Again, you'll notice some of these courses are quite niche. That's kind of why they're called niche expansion courses. They do cover very specific topics. But yeah, do any of those jump out to anyone? I'm just sort of flicking through some of my favorites here. Julie's saying, I've used active grammar and seasonal at Christmas and Chinese New Year. Great to hear. I looked at School of Magic and Space Explorers. Yeah, those are some really good fun ones. I do need to find more for my more advanced teenagers. More things for my more advanced teenagers. Great, really good question. I would say if you've got more advanced students, probably maybe B1 to B2 level. Let's have a look at, what should we pick? Either debating or maybe news. Let's have a look at debating class. I haven't looked at some of these in a while. So we click on debating. There are a few lessons available in debating course. You notice it's still kind of in development at the moment. Ooh, did my menu load properly? It's still loading. Okay, we've got an example lesson actually already on the course page. So we can have a look at this example lesson here, which is about school uniform. So this one's more slightly aimed at kids. There are other debating lessons that are aimed at suitable for other levels as well. So we've got a link down here, the curriculum structure. You'll see there's one on vaccination, science, space exploration, AI technology, things like that. If you look at this one, so it's on the page at the moment, school uniform. It's got sort of dialogue, a bit of discussion as a bit of a warm-up. You can introduce these topics. And there are things like categorizing arguments for and against. So when it comes to debating, one of the key things is you would often allocate one student to be for, one student for against. It works really well if you've got a group class, actually, this does. And I've used this with my teenage students actually in in-person classes as well. So it can be a lot of fun. And here they have to sort it. School uniform is expensive. Well, that's kind of a negative thing. And then it makes me feel proud and dress smart. Well, that's a positive thing. You notice that it's the website is picking up on whether you've put it in the right place. And if you've got that element dragged into the correct place on the screen, it then pops up with the next one. It means I don't need to decide what to wear every day. That's also a positive thing. Do you ask your student their opinion on these? Do they agree with this? Do they think it's that important? Yeah, that kind of thing. It's uncomfortable. That's kind of negative. About school uniform, children want to buy branded clothes. So it's better to have school uniform because then they wouldn't waste money on branded clothes. But as another positive, if they didn't have school uniform, kids might wear inappropriate clothes to school. We don't want that either. But a negative, we're all the same. It's not very personal. And we got all right, it pops up with a good job thing. So a few activities like this kind of as a warm-up to the topic. And there's often a grammar point or a debating skill that's being taught in each of the lessons. So in this particular case, I learned about second conditional sentences. If I had more money, I could buy a car. If everyone wore a school uniform, they would feel part of the school community. As explained, we start with a simple past phrase, and then we have something in the present tense using a modal verb. And that's a second conditional sentence. So there's this grammar point in this sort of debating context. So you see there's English learning built into this, but it's designed to be in a different context that links into the students' wider interests or their goals, things they're interested in. And then we've got a drop-down quiz similar to what you saw before. If I had a school uniform, I would not need to think about what to wear every day, and they've got to pick the right ones and then check it. I already answered 2, so 2 out of 8. If they got it correct, it pops up with a trophy. I'm going to flick through this kind of quickly to give you an idea. And then there's a class debate opportunity. So this works, as I say, really well if you've got a group class, but even if you're doing it individually with a student, you can take one perspective of the argument, they take the other perspective. You can kind of write down some ideas for and against points and phrase your arguments using the grammar point they just learnt, and then have a little debate. And then it ends with a few kind of free debating topics. This is for them to, without the prompts from earlier, come up with their own ideas. So we talked about school uniform, but how about school dinners? Should they be compulsory? Here in Japan, kids at elementary school all have school dinners provided by the school. They don't bring their own lunch. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Should students be able to choose which subjects to study, or should the school make it required? Should private schools be banned? So these are kind of on a similar theme. This is a school-themed lesson, but more open-ended, and other topics. And then it ends with a summary of the key things we learned today. This was quite an introductory level debating lesson, so they're just focused on sorting arguments for and against and a useful English phrase. Some of the others, if we scroll down and just look at the curriculum structure, some of the others look into things like forming arguments, making counter arguments, using signposting in your arguments, and there are more lessons being added to this course in the future on debating. Okay, so that might be a quick warm-up. Hope you found that helpful. Oh, I just realized it's minimized. Sorry, it's really small. Hopefully you can see some of those on the screen there. I apologize for that. Okay, Alice saying, science lessons are perfectly suitable for developing STEM skills. Thank you, Katie, very useful. Yeah, I'm not going to have a chance to look through them today, but we do have lots of science-themed lessons in the Science Boost course, also that Space Explorers course. And actually many of the news lessons have got quite a sciencey theme, so you can have a look at those if you've got kids who are interested in science, or adults, in fact, who are interested in science as well. So yeah, I hope you found these helpful. Okay. I have been rambling a lot here, so thank you so much everyone who's still stuck around. I really appreciate it. It's really great to have everyone engaging in the comments and sort of asking questions. I really appreciate everyone who's joined us today. Any last questions? I'm trying to look at my plan. Was that everything I wanted to cover today? Yep, we did a quick overview of the Abridge Academy curriculum. We looked at the new member dashboard, hopefully so much easier to navigate and a bit simpler to find things. The new lesson navigation system, the key thing being that you click through to the right level, and then on the left-hand side you'll find the menu linking to all the separate lessons that make up the course. And then we just looked at some example slides there to show you the different slide tools, interactive features, and things you can do. So I hope you found that helpful. If you did, please do let me know. And also feel free to give this video a like and things like that. It helps more people see the video on Facebook or on YouTube. I really appreciate your support with that. So feel free to like, subscribe, all those usual wonderful things that people say on these videos to get a little bit more engagement so more people can learn about these different things. Okay, I'm rambling. Julie saying, thank you, very informative. You saved me so much prep time. That's really great to hear. Thank you, Julie. I'm glad you found this helpful. And if you're new to Abridge Academy, do just have a play around on the website. As I was saying before, we have a free tier that you can sign up for. Let me go back to the curriculum page. Curriculum. On the curriculum page, we've got the links to sign up. The link for this is under the video or above the video, depending on where you are. But it's abridgeacademy.com/curriculum. Pop that on the screen here. So abridgeacademy.com/curriculum. And I'm also going to pop that in the comments in the chat. Let me just. Oops, I can't spell my own website. Abridge Academy. Academy.com/curriculum. I can spell, there we go. So if you go to this website, abridgeacademy.com/curriculum, you can also just Google search for Abridge Academy curriculum and it pops right up. Why is this not posting in the chat? Oh, I post. There's this annoying thing on Wave Video that I'm using. They put their little help button right over the button I need to click on to post, which is really not helpful. Dismiss checklist. There we go. Ah, that's better. Right, so I'll post that there so you can see it. abridgeacademy.com/curriculum. And here you can sign up. We have a free tier available. I'll just scroll down on the screen. There's a free tier available so you can check things out without no need to put a credit card or anything like that. It's completely free. Sign up, get access to a selection of lessons to check those out. Okay, mystery Facebook user, thank you for joining us. It's really helpful. Thank you so much. Great to hear. Okay, Alex asking, tell us about the preferences of Chinese students. I mean, when learning the accents, which one for them is easier to use when they pronounce? I would recommend sticking with the accent that's your personal accent. So for example, I'm from the UK. So when I am teaching ESL students, I always teach with a British accent. Like, I will explain to them differences between British and American English, but I know that I would slip up too much if I tried to use American English in my teaching. So I explain to them, and most parents are happy with that. The reason they picked British teachers because they wanted someone who's going to teach British English generally. But I teach British English because I'm British. If you're American, maybe it's best to stick with American English. That would be one thing to focus on. In terms of preferences, I mean, the best thing to do is just ask the parents of your students, ask them what they prefer. I noticed that a lot of curricula is designed in British English that they use actually in many Chinese schools, but actually a lot of kids really speak in American English because they're more familiar with it. They come across it more in media, there's videos, they've got a lot more access to American English through social media and through pop culture and things. So they're often more familiar with American English. But the best thing to do is just ask the parents of the kids, or if you're teaching adults, ask them directly, would they prefer American or British English? And if you're American or British yourself, that's probably one factor to consider as well, depending on what kind of version of English that you like to use. I know there are many different varieties of English all around the world, but the kind of two most common ones in ESL teaching in terms of curriculum and stuff is British and American English. Why is the link not posting? Okay, I'm not sure the link is posting, but if you're looking for the curriculum, I'm going to pop this back up again. abridgeacademy.com/curriculum. I'm not sure why it's not posting in the comments. I'm trying to put it in the comments. It's not sending. But it's also above or below this video, like in the video description. So do check that out as well. Okay, I'm going to jump back. Any last questions? I think we've covered pretty much everything. Great. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. I think I'm going to sort of wrap things up there then. So thank you so much everyone for joining us. I hope you found this helpful. I hope it gave you a bit of insight into the Abridge Academy curriculum and also all those exciting updates to the dashboard, to the lesson navigation system. If you've got any feedback at all on how easy or difficult it is to find things on the website, really, really appreciate it if you could drop a comment in the Facebook group or send me a message via Facebook or an email, whatever's easier for you. It's always really, really helpful to get feedback from teachers. Actually, one of the factors that really influenced this redesign of the dashboard and the navigation system was feedback from teachers. Particularly shout out to Tiger, who was messaging in the Facebook group saying, how do I find the lessons? It's so confusing. And be able to talk to teachers who are using the curriculum and understand exactly what's difficult and how we can improve it is so, so helpful. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for your feedback and for joining us today. And if you've got any other insights, do feel free to let me know. I really appreciate it. Okay, thank you for Mystery Facebook User. Thank you for joining us. I hope you found this helpful. Great. Okay, well, I think that's everything then. So thank you so much everyone who stuck around, and hope your lessons are all going well. Happy teaching. And I'm going to wrap things up now because it's also gone 10 o'clock in the evening here in Japan and I'm off to bed. So thank you for joining us. I'll see some of you guys tomorrow, well, tomorrow morning my time, your evening maybe if you're in America for the WeChat Marketing Bootcamp. If you're in our Facebook group, do feel free to check that out. If you're not, no idea what the WeChat Marketing Bootcamp is, the link is in the webinar section of the Abridge Academy website. Feel free to sign up. So I'll see some of you guys in about 8 hours time. Everyone else, have a great day or a great evening, wherever it is where you are. And yeah, thank you so much.